All right. You say episode 41, and then we'll figure it out.
So
he says episode 41, and then you want
me to start off saying episode 41?
You're the one who says 41.
Okay.
But then I...
Do you want to say Somewhat Savants?
Okay, yeah.
All right, go.
All right.
Episode 41.
Somewhat Savants.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is important.
This is no ordinary person who's sitting among you. This is Marion County's all-time, was it rushing yards?
Rushing yards in season. Yeah.
Rushing yards in a season. Best running back who has ever played the game of football, and the blackest man I know, Calib Alexander. Welcome to the show.
That's a hell of an intro, bro. That's a hell of an intro.
Hell yeah, man. I'm excited. This is dope. You know, we've got...
You're already using, like, the vernacular. Dope.
Yeah, right?
Another good
I'm
one's
leaning
like,
into it.
Say, yo, what up? And he can understand, I think.
I went to private school with Jared. We graduated from the same private school.
But
See, if anything, I'm the one that went to the shittiest school. I went to Hogue Alley.
What was it?
We had a daycare at my high school for the students.
What?
Are you kidding me?
No, I never told you that?
No.
Yeah, they're over here talking. We went to private school. Oh, man, that's great.
That's kind of where I wanted to start, honestly. Here I am in, I guess at that point beforehand would have been 9th grade, enjoying just the nice white private school experience. Honestly,
this is real.
There was one Indian kid, and I mean, it's private school.
Valedictorian.
Yeah, honestly, shout out. And I can't really think of who else. Maybe can you say token people anymore?
I mean, they say it in South Park still to this day, right?
Okay, a couple token.
Like his name's Token. Oh, wait, did they take Token out? I don't know.
No, South Park wouldn't do
Okay,
that.
I figured as much.
A couple.
That hasn't been canceled yet.
Yeah, no, not yet.
A couple token ethnic people on a football team that sucks. On a basketball team.
1-9.
That was even worse.
1-9. Oof.
And I got
just showing up and shit. They didn't.
We participated.
Mm-hmm. That's the kind of school we're talking here. Flash to 10th grade, and then we get a new influx of people in.
It was like NWA hitting America. Like, we hit St. John's hard. We hit it. Like, we came in probably about 10 guys deep, and that was enough to stir the pot there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
To knock shit around a little bit?
Yeah.
Nice.
In that group, there was only a couple token white guys. There were some, but token.
Token. Nice.
What on paper looked like something that would not go well.
Yeah.
Something that looked like, okay, there's going to be some clear problems here. And there were some learning curves, and we can definitely talk about those because they're hilarious. But here comes this group of mostly black and or Hispanic, one Hispanic guy.
Say mixed.
Just a mixed group of non-white people from a school whose reputation to us at the time was not very good. What was the nickname of the school? Westport.
Oh. Where we came from. Yes, Sexport. Yeah.
Sexport.
It was Sexport at the time. Yeah.
Sexport. Don't forget your Newports.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is when you find that out, you're...
Shaking in our boots a little bit.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
gonna lie.
A little nervous. Okay. What are you talking about?
What are you worried about? It's all good.
Just kidding.
Now, I'm curious. You kind of have a little glimpse of what it was like for me, who I don't consider myself... This sounds so like woke. Like I'm not the average white person, but I think I have a more evolved view than certain people that were at that school at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was still freaked out.
So are you implying that there were some people who were
Very nervous.
prejudiced at the school,
Absolutely.
more so than
Absolutely.
usual, or more so than what you're saying.
Not
Right.
I don't think prejudice to the point of
Nothing violent. I would say, yeah, nothing.
Yeah, but
or
just
that they would even strongly advocate against them coming to the school,
Absolutely.
but definitely probably privately objected in their home.
right. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I see what
Nothing
you're
that's
saying.
going to harm somebody, but
they're talking or whatever.
Absolutely.
You can feel the vibe. I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Those kind of people. So they were freaked out. I was wigged out. I would say it was a culture shock for me. What was it like to be the quote unquote, and I say this just to say it, the intruder or the one
Yeah, I got you.
entering?
Yeah.
You're the,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
I'm not racist.
Me either.
good disclaimer. All right. But yeah, so coming into that environment, my mom actually was like, she had a pamphlet, she was turning it, got to the last page, and it was like 99% of St. John kids go to college.
Okay.
Right? So going there, I was like, all right, well, I got to go here, and join the rest of the guys. But getting there, I remember like first week, you would walk past somebody and they wouldn't even look at you, And it's just, we're the new guys.
Right.
Team. So took a while, and then, Jared will tell you, there's never been a black teacher that I know of besides that wasn't a coach.
At that school.
That's exactly right.
There's never, you go through, if you were to open up a yearbook every year, you would not see a black teacher until like Coach Fisher came. And he was
Right.
the basketball coach. And he's the only one.
That is interesting because we got a weird dichotomy happening here because I had black teachers when I went to high school.
Oh, really?
Would you say
Yeah.
majority so?
I wouldn't say majority, but I would say enough to where you're likely we're going to get like either Miss Waters or something in a class depending on the subject, But that's interesting.
Yeah.
Where was the school at again? It's here in Ocala, right?
Smack dab in the middle of Florida.
Smack dab in the middle of Florida. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. But okay. Continue.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So we get to this school where most of us are there for football.
Right.
So I went with my buddies that were there for football, but it took a while to the teachers at first they weren't used to us just cracking jokes, talking. But my first day was AP biology, and
Damn, you went AP off the bat?
no honors. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Honors.
I was going to say, did you get that credit?
Yeah,
Because I didn't get mine for my AP class.
One thing I didn't add to my intro though is also scholar athlete. This man took AP classes and did the shit.
Hell yeah, bro. Good for you.
Something.
But back to talking
bro.
in class and being a miscreant.
I mean, like first you got to think it's not only shock for that group of guys that were already there. We come in and now we come from a school where there's 40 kids in the class, and you can get lost in the back of the class. The teacher just put you off in that group that they talk all day, whatever
They're not going to pay any attention.
Yeah, and
right.
you come there and it's 10 kids in a class, or some classes 5, 6 kids. So the teacher's on you, like, hey, you got to do this. The whole class period. So a guy like me who comes in and I'm just bullshitting, as far as I'm smart enough to get like B's and C's if I just chill. So now you got teachers that are calling home and shit,
Keeping you accountable.
Yeah,
That's crazy. So you said there's only 10 people in the class when you guys went there?
Yeah, bro.
Our graduating class was
46.
that was a huge
class,
graduating.
by the way. Yeah.
We were probably one of the bigger, if not the biggest class to ever come from that school.
46 people.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
See, this is almost mind blowing for me because I don't have that experience. Because when I was in class, I'm like you're saying, you can get lost in the class because there's like over, there's like 20 people in a class. 20 something. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So that's a private school benefit. There's more.
It's definitely an argument for privatized schooling.
I got you.
Sure.
Well, no, I mean, I plan on sending my kids there. But anyway, that's crazy. 10 people.
I can't remember. And remember, you were the insider, and I was the outside. Or
Sure.
You're the insider of your group. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if there was any major bumps in the road considering that integration. I don't think anyone got expelled.
I mean, I put a guy in a locker saying something, but I kind of fed him. You probably don't remember.
I'm gonna take back my intro. What?
No.
You bully.
No. This is our sophomore year.
Talking to the mic.
So this is our sophomore year. We had played Carrollwood Day. You remember John Gruden's son's team?
Of course.
So they came to our house.
Gruden's son.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a story about that game.
Yeah, these guys are headhunters.
Real quick.
Yeah, Sean Payton. You want me to tell him that story?
Oh, I was just gonna tell him I
Donnie
fucked
Gate?
up Deuce Gruden's kid.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, he hit Deuce.
Oh yeah,
fucked up his ankle.
Deuce was the son. John Gruden, his kid. I think it might be my phone.
That's mine. Gruden's canceled anyway.
I can't believe that.
Bro, that's so sad, bro. You signed him to a 10-year, and then you pull some shit out of his brother's emails, archives from, and behind closed doors, I don't know anybody who doesn't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Not like real men-wise.
Right.
There's certain shit you can, we can all admit that we get behind closed doors and we have conversations about it. We say, and for him, he just got canceled. I'm just like, dude, it was a big deal because there wasn't players who hated him. Brian Flores in Miami was dogging out players. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean by that?
Like with Tua, their situation, he was talking shit if he had a bad game or talking shit about getting other quarterbacks. Like he should have drafted somebody else instead of him. They should have got Deshaun Watson. And then there was a lot of people who came out and said, yeah, this guy's a piece. He's really nasty.
He's like mentally torturing them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't hear anything like that from, Gruden.
No, Gruden's a hard ass through and through.
Yeah. And Urban was fucking kicking players. You know what I'm saying? So like
he's a piece of shit anyways. I can't stand him.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But I mean, we'll just dive right into it. I mean, that's really a reflection of the times and where we're going today.
Absolutely.
And it makes me curious for you or curious about you. What is this like being a black person going through what we're going through today, especially on the eve as we record this of Black History Month? I'm sure by the time it's out, it'll be.
Yeah.
And especially after 2020.
Yeah. This is what I'll tell you. If you actually turn off the TV and go about your business, right, you don't really notice all of this shit, right? To be honest with you. So like me, am I aware of certain situations that are like egregious? Like, okay, so I'll tell you, when I watched George Floyd video for the first time, right? I was like, I don't know what led up to that situation, but you would hope that somebody with a clear head would just be like, all right, just get off the guy's fucking neck so we can get him to, I think that in 99% of cases, cops are trying to get a criminal to jail. They're not trying to be the executioner and, the jury and all that shit in one stop. So like I noticed things like that. I think Ahmaud Arbery, that situation, guys going through a jog or whatever. Anytime like it's something that just like shocks the world, I pay attention to. But if it's just like little bullshit where, you do X, Y, and Z, and now it's got to be the fucking Black Lives Matter movement. Like I hate shit like that. So I would say for me, I'm blessed enough to have a level head and good people around me to where if something bothers me when I see a video, I can go hit up a friend and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about it? And we can have an intelligent discourse about it. But for people who probably, didn't have the education we had and, they see something on TV and they just run with it out without looking up. I think everybody in this room, before you get on the podcast, if you're going to talk about something, you do some research on it, right? And you try to find some good stuff. So
somewhat.
Yeah. But, bro, so I would say as a black man, I don't think that there's been irritating shit. I'll see stuff on the news and then I'll be like, man, I haven't experienced I go about my day. I treat people with respect, and most of the time I put myself in a situation where I'm not going to experience some bullshit, right? Whenever there's that gray area, then it's like, all right, now it's on the news,
Let me ask you, because my old roommate was a black man. I used to live with my good friend.
It's a great thing, right?
I love Leonard.
Once you go black.
Dude, but anyway, he moved. He lives in Wisconsin now. He got a better job, but we met at Gatorland, and we both wrestled alligators together.
Damn.
But
wait, you wrestled alligators, bro?
Oh, he never told you that?
That's some dope-ass shit. When you say Gatorland, I'm thinking like the fucking gators that you drive. The ATV shop or some shit. Gatorland.
No, like actual reptilians.
What?
Yeah, I did that for 4 years.
He's a badass.
But Leonard, he did the same thing. He was working there, because I would ask him, because he, I think he would say if the way you articulated your experience, I have a feeling would have been different than Leonard would have articulated.
Exactly. I know exactly where you're going. Yeah, like
he also went to Cornell.
Dang.
He's smart. He's smart as a whip.
Yeah.
And you know how those Ivy League universities are.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but how, they have the reputation of being kind of indoctrination a little bit.
Uh-huh.
A little bit.
That's what it is. Like if you go to
okay, well, I wanted to say a little bit. I'm gauging Calib here.
No, you're good, bro. Yeah.
He's one of us.
So anyway, indoctrination camps where you go to those, those Ivy League universities, and they're probably going to be telling minorities different things. But of course, he would same thing. He would obviously level-headed for the smart. Wasn't putting himself in positions to where he could become a story, like you're seeing.
Absolutely.
So I guess my question to you is, I heard what you just had to say. Do you think people or friends from, the black community or people do you think that they would look at what you said and be like, well, that's because you went to a private school and like think your outlook is jaded now and you're trying to be like other people?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, so there's some phrases I can't say on here. So
say what you want.
There's
they ain't monetized yet.
We're a free speech podcast.
Yeah, so kind of what you're asking me, like, would they say that and be like, oh, of course he thinks that because blah 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 blah. So like they call it cooning, or they call it like
okay, so that's what that means.
Being Uncle Tom or
yes,
something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you say something that's like so for one, I don't like sit on the fence about like social issues, right?
Right.
So I either say this is worth putting energy into, or it's not. There's not, I'll let everybody else just, I make it clear that, hey, if there's something that happens to a minority and it's fucked up, I just, I point out that, hey, this is some bullshit,
Right.
But if it's something that's just like, some bullshit story, cop comes to a neighborhood and there's 15 people fighting outside and a girl has a knife and she's about to stab somebody and he shoots her. I don't know if y'all remember that in Texas.
I do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like he has no choice but to try to save a life.
Right, because she was about to stab another girl. Right,
yeah,
who was also a black woman or girl.
Yeah.
And the cop's like, "Whoa, what do you do?"
Exactly.
Right, now I remember that
it's
one.
his job to save a life.
Right,
know?
and he saved her.
Yeah.
The other girl.
I'll save you over the person that obviously wants to be a prisoner.
Right.
Know? So, so when people, like I said, I don't toe the line on anything else, or not. I don't want to say anything else, but on anything socially. So if they, it's just, I went to private school, but before then I was at public school.
Right.
I was raised by a single mom for a large portion of my life. My parents split when I was young.
Same here.
So I can give you that same story of, oh, well, some people think that I just grew up in a 2-story house. When I went to St. John's, my mom had just got a real estate company, so we were doing a little better. But, that was 10th grade. Before then, I had lived in, a mom with 2 kids. We were living in the projects.
Right.
Had crazy stuff happening next door, having a fight at a young age. But there's no sense in glorifying that. You could just crack open a book or get around a good circle of people and
lift yourself up.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting because with this whole new thing in 2020, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things have been pushed.
Absolutely.
Like saying, I don't know if you've heard either, but like they've been calling certain things traits of whiteness.
Oh, I've not heard that term. No.
Like working hard, being on time.
Oh yeah. Like you talking about like the joke stereotypes.
Right. And and now with this whole, after George Floyd, obviously it's been a big thing, and there was a lens on it. So basically they've kind of equated white people, I guess, to now it's just whiteness. That's like a thing.
Really?
Being whiteness. And now
like it's a disease.
So I've heard, yeah.
Right. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is because you went to a private school, you work hard. I imagine you're on time. They're saying that's like that's whiteness.
Yeah.
So
it's a toxic.
It doesn't really make any sense because to me that's just good qualities of a person.
Yeah,
would you agree? Right?
Exactly.
So I think it's amazing that your mom was able to put you through private school.
Yeah.
because like I relate to you because I grew up with a single dad.
Yeah.
My parents split up young too. I've been to public school my whole life. I never went to private school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just think it's, like I said earlier, God, I'm so choppy right now.
We can tell you went to public school.
So like I said earlier, so I guess my main thing was like, with the way you described how you view 2020 and this whole whole thing happening, people might think, well, it's because you went to a private school and all this stuff. But isn't that the whole goal, is to live a fulfilling life and have parents that are able to provide and get you to a good education? 99% of the students went to college. Like how is that whiteness? That should be what you want.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Bro, you would think that people would
be on time, go to work. Like that's what you want.
It's easier to make an excuse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like it's so much easier for me to say, you had it easy. They might not know your story, right? And they don't know, my upbringing. They just see, oh, well, he lived in a decent sized house in high school and they went to a private school.
Sounds like your mom worked her ass off.
Yeah,
is what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody's just complaining because my parents did better than theirs, or So, and I think everybody in this room, especially if you have kids or don't have kids, later down the road, you would want your family set up so they can live smoothly. Like, I want my daughter to coast through life.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, it is what it is, bro. Like, I can't help that, my parents were.
Right, no, exactly.
Do you think, as a black male in America, I hear that phrase so much. As a black dude, do you feel the government, and when I say the government, think about schools and just the system overall, through their attempts to protect, has the government done black people a disservice?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Because when you're saying it's the things you want, it's the things you strive for, it's just what a regular human should want, and it takes the initiative. What is it typically about lower income communities, I'll say, because I know it's not a black or white thing, because you see white people in lower income communities going through the exact same thing. What is it? Is it like the welfare system?
I will tell you, absolutely. Like, I think that the problem, like, is first is education, right? Because if your parents don't know shit, it makes it really hard for you to learn some shit later in life, right? There's things that, because my dad wasn't in the picture for a long time, I didn't learn until I was like 17, 18. Like, I was like, damn, dude, if I just had a dad, I'd be clean shaven. I'd know how to shave,
Right. Do you know how to now?
I don't shave. I just let my barber do it. Because now, when I've tried to shave, dude, I'll break out.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I haven't been clean shaven in years.
Yeah, man. And I would do it. I would rock it. You know what I'm saying? You got a sick beard, though.
Appreciate it.
He does. It looks Velcroed on.
Well, yeah, bro, I think it's an education thing. And then, obviously, the government, giving an incentive to get away from your husband or your man, to not have a man in the house. And
daddy government.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Coming in, and women are like, yeah, I'll take this $100 rent. And you said the dad just doesn't have to come around or whatever. So you get that, and you get all this assistance. Makes it a little easier to break up families. And
so you're basically affirming that it is the case that they made it attractive for the father not to be present for these single mothers.
And you'll see, I mean, if you go, I want to say 40s or 50s, it didn't really happen until like the 70s, where it really was an effort to like, hey, let's split up, these the fathers out of these homes. And now we're 70s or 50 years ago, so we're 2-3 generations, and you can see the bullshit that's come out of it,
right?
Because like Martin Luther King graduated high school with a degree or something. Like you ever see like how crazy back then, when you could go to school, you had everybody under one roof. It's easy, life is peaceful, but because that's
a good point, because at one point the black community was doing good.
Doing real good.
Real good. And what was it? It was the 60s, right?
Yeah.
It was the 60s. They were married. They were happy.
Yeah.
You're right. The 70s came along and they disrupted it.
Absolutely.
What's weird...
And
it's a government thing.
It is a government thing, right?
But they masked it as progress in this weird way, because if you think about the timeline, the 60s were the peak of Martin Luther King and the race riots, and that's when shit like boom exploded.
Yeah.
So it's almost like and then the government was in their own way, like forced. It's like, okay, we got to do something. I just learned
because they were still racist running the government.
This is a hot take now.
Dems.
As far as you know what I'm saying?
They were. I mean, they were.
Like, you can go back and see videos of Joe Biden dropping M-bombs and stuff in government. You know
I mean, he said he didn't want his kids to go to a jungle in school.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and the guy's the president now.
Yeah.
You know? So, what I would say is, back then, it's clear. Like, if you look at the black community now compared to back then, it's clear that, like, forcing integration was a horrible idea. Not in the sense of we shouldn't be able to meet up, because they were already commingling. There was, you had some people that would, like if me and Zach were hanging out in the 50s, say we're playing basketball from 6 to 7:30 every night on the back court, right? And then his uncle saw, then he would get his ass kicked and I might get jumped, right?
Right.
But they were already friends, I think over time we gradually would have, coexist, because we're humans. That's what humans do.
Right.
But the way the government went about it, it just fucked up the black community, and then the separation for, like, the racial divide is crazy.
So are you saying they force integrated? Wait, what?
Yeah, dude. I mean, the busing systems used to be, all black buses, all white buses.
Right.
Schools was black. I mean,
right.
we had teachers that went to segregated schools, because I would ask them how it was back then, and you didn't have to force everything to be like, hey, if you want to go ride the all-white bus, go do that. You want to do the all-black bus, go do that. But now we have access to a bus that everybody can ride, right?
Right.
And then, over time, people are going to go, go do that.
Yeah, they're going to go do it, right.
Because, so I think when you force stuff, there's always just like this.
It builds resentment.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes, fuck, they're forcing me to do this shit. Look at the same attitude, I gotta say, with like the jab. They're starting to force everybody, and then
look, it's turned into its own segregation now.
Yep.
So that's a very valid point.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely. I wish that if we could, like, go back. I think Martin Luther King had some great points when he did his speeches and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a better route to go, and it wasn't, let's break up this family or let's cause a lot of racial divide. And, most of it's just government. It's not even just, because I've heard theories about black people setting up Martin Luther King, and black people were the ones that shot Malcolm X.
That's true. Yeah.
So, there's always an infiltrator. You can't make that stuff happen unless you got somebody close to you.
Right.
It's just people.
Yeah.
There were blacks and Jews who fought for the Confederacy during the Civil War. And then I just learned this too. The Union segregated the blacks, the Jews, and the pure-blooded white people from each other. The Union, the one who were fighting to end slavery, the Confederacy just let everybody mix it up.
Yeah, they
That shows you it's just stupid, idiotic people.
Well, you also got to stop, like,
right.
If you watch the news long enough, you know what I'm saying? You just have whatever their views. I'm sure y'all have seen the videos where it's like one anchor is reading and then another anchor is reading, and they're all reading the same script on, like,
the exact same script.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, nobody should. Watching that video, I think that was the biggest eye opener, and that thing's probably a decade old or five. But
just
watching that video,
regurgitating the same script.
Yeah, I can't watch this.
Gotcha.
I don't even watch commercials.
Oh, I used to teach my ex-girlfriend's little son, and he repeats it to me to this day. Commercials are meant to trick you. And if that's like the one thing out of that relationship I can get to stick, it's that kid knowing that. Seriously.
I mean, he ain't wrong. Marketing is a psychology trade where you're learning how to get into people's minds.
I truly think they take the best marketing directors and suck them up to the U.S. government.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
they are the best.
Sure.
They own the best marketing campaigns because they do the ones that you don't even know are happening.
Yep.
You can look at an ad and think about Mad Men, Don Draper up in the office, and think, oh, that's a good-ass ad, and maybe it'll make you buy their product. The government's just doing it to out-and-out trick you.
Yeah. Oh,
and
absolutely.
I've heard so many conspiracies about whether it was through marijuana or whatever, that age of government who really anchored in all these laws that we still, for some reason, are going by today. Some of them. Obviously, some of them you have to protect, but there's some idiotic, archaic things that are like, why are we still doing this? We have the internet. We have so many different things. Shit should evolve. In school, and I want to get your take on this, everybody knows about Black History Month. Black History Month is coming up.
Yeah.
Black History Month is now, probably, if you're watching this. As a kid, through mostly private school, though I remember in elementary, you went along with it. You did your report. Oh, Zach got Harriet Tubman. I got Rosa Parks. You got Frederick Douglass. And so-and-so got Martin Luther King. Let's all write a report. Martin Luther King was a great black man who... And 28 days of, hey, there's black people and they did some stuff. And then we just kind of put it away for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I've seen before, so this is not my, I came up with it original opinion, but we should really probably try to get rid of Black History Month.
Yeah. So
and just because all they ever learn is the Rosa Parks and the Harriet Tubmans and the Martin Luther Kings. They don't teach about Malcolm X. I figured that in school. He was a little too radical. I've watched some old
Malcolm X.
That's more so a government thing, though, why they don't teach Malcolm X.
But because Malcolm X, he was right about a lot of stuff.
Yes,
though.
I've seen his old videos, and I watch and I'm like, oh, shit. What's going on now? Malcolm predicted.
Well, because the thing about him is the people who are race baiting and who are pretending to be the heroes, Malcolm X knew that they're full of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He
didn't
knows
really talk to those guys who are still around today. Yeah.
That's who killed Malcolm, is those kind of people.
Yeah, because they couldn't have that. It ruins their whole plan.
Their money, exactly.
That's all it ever comes down to is money. And with Black History Month even, all these corporations, it's just like they just capitalize on it. That's all I see it as.
Oh yeah, they capitalize on the BLM movement, or they went crazy. NBA, NFL,
Skittles.
Oh yeah,
Skittles
it's on their cleats.
I was
it's
like,
on their.
what does this have to?
Skittles took away or maybe that was for gay. I don't know that they took away the rainbow and made it all gray. Like we're all the same. It's like that's dystopian. It's like we're all gonna be gray blobs.
Yeah.
Yep, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Yeah, corporations are just raping any sort of month. The LGBTQ 49.
It's all commercialized.
It is.
It's crazy. It's
but what?
crazy.
I guess sticking to Black History Month.
Yeah.
The only thing it does is relegate a few black heroes to one little month. Ironically, the shortest month, although I don't think it's ironic. I think that was 100% calculated.
Which one has the less days?
They started out and gave them Black History Week. I also learned that. I learned a lot today.
Yeah.
What is it like for you, again, because I love the perspective because, I've always been very interested, and that's why I've been interested in hip-hop and rap and urban culture, is because I grew up so opposite of that. I don't want to say you grew up urban, but...
Well, what's interesting, it's funny you say that, because I got into skateboarding at such an early age, and it's highly integrated with urban culture.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
But anyway, so no, I like you're saying, been fascinated by it, listened to all that, and skateboarding helped me, be introduced to that.
There's going to be something that's going to connect you with people.
Right.
Exactly.
If you're a normal human being.
Right, exactly.
TV.
But what was it like...
For Black History Month?
Being you during Black History Month and seeing like are you excited as a kid? Like, this is my month, it's coming up. Like, was it an event for you, or was it just like, all right, this is some shit I'm learning in school now?
Yeah. So here's the thing about Black History Month. I think maybe when you have people who, like maybe my grandparents, that was important to them. I don't know.
Can I say this real quick? There was a time, I think, where it was super needed because, like I said, they gave them
they were fresh out. You know what I'm saying?
They gave them Black History Week, and that was them giving an inch. So it's like, okay, we know we have to do something. That's because they weren't teaching black anything, and they were attributing a lot of stuff that black people did to white people. Like all of Elvis's songs, I think were all written and done by black people.
He took a lot of his, I think it was his dances and a couple of his songs. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Dude, no, black people are responsible completely for probably one of my favorite genres of music, which is, the jazz and blues culture. Yeah. Like, a lot of influence. Anyway, to your point, it makes total sense that he wrote all of Elvis Presley's songs.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Chuck Berry, baby. Okay, what's it like being a black man during Black History Month? A black kid.
yeah.
I want to know a black child. That's what I'm aiming at.
So when you first hear it, you don't even. It just like pops up on you, right? Like you're not at the end of January, like, oh shit, our month is coming up.
I better be good.
I'll be like, oh, I can't wait.
You know, so it's not like Christmas. It's just like, oh, okay, cool. You know, I think with Black History Month, you could, instead of just doing the same shit every year and then just getting a month and doing all this marketing, you could just like integrate Black history just with the rest of the year, like everything else.
Right.
You know, just like we learned something, you know, we know who the first president was and this and that. Like, you know, I always put George Washington and George Washington Carver. You know, you learn some stuff like that. But I think if we just taught, you know, what happened, like American history, you wouldn't feel the need to make it Black history and white history. You would just be like, this is American history.
Because there's so many black people, Asian people, whatever. There's so many different amounts of people that have done extraordinary shit that's worth learning about.
Exactly.
And there's been so much transformative stuff by black people for this country specifically.
And I think also, too, obviously, when it comes to Black History Month and the black history that's involved with the United States, immediately people think slavery. That's where it all derived from.
Yeah.
How do you view this? Because you probably know this, obviously. The United States wasn't the exclusive harbor of black slavery.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
It actually accounted for, I think, less than 5% of the total slaves that were distributed from Africa
over the course of like civilized human, yes.
Over the course of civilized human history, right. Not to say that's any excuse at all.
I got you,
But I think there's this weird thing that makes it seem that this was the only place that did it.
No. It's just because like the ancestors were the only people on American soil to be put in chains.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's that.
Wait, say that again. The ancestors were the only...
our ancestors, if you were born here, if you like I'm born here.
Right. You're an American.
And my parents so my ancestors, they're the only people to be enslaved on American soil. Right.
I see what you're saying.
As we've been, you know, the United States.
Right.
So that's the only thing about slavery where I'm like, you know, let's not remember that part so I don't think we're going to repeat anything, you know, not with
I literally don't think that's possible.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So there's that piece of history, you know, to point out that hey, that was here. Look how far we've grown since then. That's the biggest thing I say about slavery. Everything, you know, as far as we need a month, we don't need a month. That's just a part of American history, and we should teach
exactly because at that point it's a part. Because how do you feel about Juneteenth? They just made that a federal holiday.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was the day when the slaves in Texas found out they were actually free.
Yes, the last slaves were free. Yeah.
The last slaves were free, right.
Yeah, so it's a...
Because they were keeping it secret.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's insane, though.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, we've been free.
Yeah, they're like, wait. Yeah, and they're like, oh, shit.
Don't tell none of the slaves.
Because that was in Texas, right?
Yeah, man. So, you know, Juneteenth, that's a big deal. I would say that just having the knowledge of it, though,
I think it
cool.
is a big deal.
Just like y'all can probably go back a couple generations back, or you know, more than a couple, and you can know cool pieces of history about, you know, your people. Or so same thing. Juneteenth is just like, okay, cool. I know they didn't shake hands because they were sharecropping and shit after,
right?
But you know, this was the official day where at least everybody knew, like, all right,
it's over.
Yeah. Well, now we can start working towards progress.
Right, exactly. Now, you know, slavery's over.
Yeah.
Right.
Know.
Slavery's over. Now I'll just start paying you a very, very minimal amount of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, those clothes you got on, this $100 shirt and all, I'm going to pay you 2 pennies a day.
I won't whip you as much.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I have something I wanted to bring up. I thought of it. I wanted to keep it from you until we got here.
Damn you.
Planned Parenthood. Do you know anything about that?
I know that...
And this isn't this is not an abortion conversation.
No, I got you. Yeah.
But I'll tell you where I'm going with it.
But I do
if you know
that they have their hands in a lot of stuff for the government as far as in certain communities. And I've seen statistics on, like what you were saying, abortion. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of, you know, this information before, but the founder of Planned Parenthood was Margaret Sanger.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
And Margaret Sanger was a racist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like it's been documented that she was present at KKK meetings and all sorts of things. And, you know, because you said you came from a projects type area when you were younger.
Absolutely.
From what I understand, that these Planned Parenthood strategically seem to be located in underdeveloped areas. And obviously people who defend the organization are going to be like, that is some bullshit. That's not true. But based on Margaret Sanger's background, because she believed in eugenics and how strategically these establishments were placed in, these troubled areas, I think that they were designed, and this is like a democratic thing because they defend it tooth and nail.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that was a way because we made progress. The 60s were great. Then the 70s came. Then these Planned Parenthood organization or buildings were popping up. I feel like it was the people in power still, their racist way of being able to, I mean, this is dark, but to eliminate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, to encourage, like you said, daddy government coming in, and it gave them an option. Like, have you heard anything like that? Like,
dude, it's
of
crazy.
Planned Parenthood.
Yeah. So what they are located mostly in.
Because you don't just drive around and see one, really.
You don't see one. Like think about this. Like if you're gonna put, you ain't got to say it out loud, right? But if you're in Ocala, right, and you were gonna put a Popeyes somewhere, right, you would put it. You would, like I said, you would map it out, see what demographic is here, because that's who we cater to the most, and you would put it there, right? Back to what I was saying earlier about education in those areas is a little lower, right? So most people who are lower educated probably aren't having safe sex. We've already given you money to get your man out of the house, right? So now we can just start, scrambling your future ones. And if you're not with somebody, you're probably not gonna have, so
right.
It's a sick. You can find new ways to be racist.
That's. I guess that's the point of what I'm saying. They found new ways to do it.
Absolutely. They just do it with like a velvet glove, but it's
right.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Sleight of the hand almost, and they've got people believing it's for some righteous cause. All these things.
Not at all.
Yeah, because I when I found out about that, Margaret Sanger, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy.
People have no idea how many.
People don't know this stuff.
Insane people started things like you were talking about cults, like. They start these cult-like things. Like the government is, what was it, a Bohemian Grove?
Yeah, we brought that up one time. Yeah.
How are we okay with that?
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like Bohemian Grove, they're going and worshiping this big owl and this rich elites, and we're okay with that. And Squid Games, I feel like there's something out there like that, right? Like art comes from.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if there was something like that out there.
There's pictures of the Rothschilds wearing similar hats and face covers.
It's like when you're an elite, it's like you got nothing better to do. You're gonna do some weird shit, wear some masks, and start a cult and worship something higher.
Guys, I can tell you some today. My the mother of my child, right? I pick her up from work. We're driving back, and she's like, the owner. He's a famous, I guess, driver or races cars or something like that, right? I'm not gonna say his name and all, but yeah. So she got to sit down with him and his wife and talk today. She asked him like, who's the richest person you've been around, right? And he said, oh, I'll tell you. He said, I was selling like 15 cars. They flew me out. I get picked up in like a Rolls Royce. They drive me to a yacht, right?
Shit.
Yeah, this yacht, there's nobody on it, right? And it's like the yacht is driving to a bigger yacht.
Oh,
right?
shit.
We're talking about uber rich. We're talking about So he gets there, gets out. There's this like 4-course meal on the table, and it's just him in the bodyguard.
This is like a movie scene.
Yeah. She's telling me this. I'm like, but I know the person that she works for. We'll talk about that off camera. But he's like, yes. So I'm sitting there, and I hear the helicopter land on the yacht. Footsteps come in. Dude just looks at the paper. Says hi. You like the food? Signs all the paperwork for all 15 vehicles. Shakes the hand. Leaves. Right. And then like, hey man, in about an hour, you can eat, or we can take you back now. Gets on the yacht to get to the other yacht to get back to the Rolls Royce. And flies back out. Private jet.
G6, baby.
Yeah. So there's people that are so rich that so the guy who you're like, okay, Caleb, don't leave a loose end.
Yeah. Who is he?
It's I guess it's the guy that invented duct tape, or he's got the patent for duct tape, or he's an heir to that guy.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Duct tape is such a massive thing.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but that's
duct tape.
insane.
Yeah, that
that's
makes
the
sense.
Uber rich. And,
if
they wanted to get together, imagine 10 people like him get together and go get an island.
Yeah, I mean, they can call the shots at that point.
Yeah.
Trickle down effect.
There's enough people that gather in like those multi-level marketing or like the BNI business groups. I'd say 50 people in like each county can gather and coexist. For sure, there's enough billionaires or just enough billionaires for them to all merge, come together, and they got to agree about something.
Yeah, it's called Davos.
You guys think that there's like people who you can't quantify their money? Because I think like billionaires cool because we see it on the Forbes, and you see Elon, and he's the richest guy because the valuation of Tesla is $1 trillion.
Right.
So
I mean, a lot of it's on paper, but
but there's these Saudi kings, who have their hands deep in oil, all this gold. Who's actually went around and counted all that? Like I think that there's people past.
They're just untouchable.
Yeah,
I think
Bezos is crazy. His money.
Bezos?
He's loaded.
Oh yeah, that
got money
motherfucker is
everywhere.
loaded.
We've-
That bald ass Q-tip.
Yeah, we don't like Bezos.
I'm just saying the guy is like he's one of those uber rich guys.
Oh yeah.
He's like, yeah, let me just go to space.
Yep.
Twice in the last year.
Like,
You've got that's the best thing. Yeah, that's the
he's
best
fucking-
impression.
white ass bitch.
All the people who are doing this shit that we're talking about are fucking old white dudes. Old white people. Women too, Pelosi.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, how did you like that garb stunt they did?
Was that
did-
on the
what-
Juneteenth
Oh,
day?
oh,
No,
yeah,
that
yeah.
was I think it was on our George Floyd.
I think it's unprofessional. I'll say that.
I think it's so out of touch.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and
what the fuck are you doing?
I think it's like if you want to do some shit like that, and you're at like you've gone to someone's like venue, cool. But let's keep it. I don't want to say like let's keep it American because that's your job. Like your job is to represent the United States of America. Because you wouldn't go up there and wear a fucking sombrero if it was So
yes.
And that's the old joke. It's like from a fucking 70s movie where a guy, Chevy Chase, will wear a sombrero and it's slightly racist when he's visiting Mexico on family vacation, and it's funny type of thing.
Yeah,
you look
right,
at it,
it's
like,
funny.
That's ridiculous. That's satire.
Because they're
what you're
taking it completely serious and thinking they're righteous doing it.
yeah, exactly.
taking a
Yeah.
knee like it's Wakanda.
Yeah, so like that was dude, that was
It was cringe.
That whole ordeal. I will say this: there's two things. Talking about George Floyd, right? It's unfortunate that it happened to a human being, right?
I agreed.
I don't think he's a martyr, and I definitely didn't like. And I think most of my black friends were like, "Go get him a statue." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He got one.
The guy got a statue, and he's not Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? He's not somebody from the civil rights era. Now, all I will say is that I think the world really put a smile on black people's faces with how they all came out and just said that was fucked up. You see something and you're just like, man, I don't know what this guy
and
was
I
thinking.
think majority
Yeah.
of people were like, dude, this is fucked.
Anybody who was pushing that there was people okay with it, I'm like, you're talking about like maybe like 1% of people because I hadn't bumped into a person.
No, I had
Who
not
told me?
bumped into a person either. I went to I don't know if he told, I went to the protest.
Oh, really?
With my now wife at the
Yeah.
time. And we actually donated money, not to BLM, because my wife is familiar with
for sure.
nonprofits.
Yeah.
And we did our research because there was a lot of organizations you could donate
you could do
to.
Better, you could do a better.
Yeah, we donated to
organization
like I don't remember the names exactly, but anyway, I agree with you. Like no one was. I feel like no one was.
I thought that was-
everyone was on the same page.
that was the most continuity between all races. Like, hey, that is some bull. You know what I'm saying?
It was just the hands in the pocket. It was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
Tinfoil hat time.
Yeah. So this is good.
I told him the other. That'll be a segment on the show.
That is. I love it.
Right?
He just rolls in.
I can do that too.
I know you can.
I told him the other day, it appeared so blatant. What if Chauvin was like super in debt, or like the government had some shit on him, or he had some shit on them, or whatever the case may be, and they're like, you're going, just like I think they did Lee Harvey Oswald, like you're going out there and you're going to take the rap and you're going to do this. The guy who killed JFK.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yep.
Didn't kill JFK.
I mean, was the grassy knoll?
Yes.
I think there was
Whole nother podcast.
What about the babushka lady?
Did Derek Chauvin get directed to do that? And was that on purpose? Look, I wish we had it pulled up, producer third time. Look at his face. Everybody who watched that
like
video, just
zoned
like we
out.
said,
Yeah.
like my gut truly wrenched. I'm like, get the fuck off of him.
Like it was so bad. It was almost like, dude, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Any person, even the most racist of racists, I feel like would be like, shit.
Let me get my fucking knee off this guy's neck. Yeah.
Be like, is that a can?
Let me ask y'all something.
Yeah.
As white males, right? Y'all like it.
Buckle in.
So, as white males, right? Do y'all ever see some shit and be like, fuck, this is giving us a bad rap? Like there's going to be a media tour because this one guy who happened to be white or this couple, they said some shit. And now it's going viral, and you're like, "Fuck."
Honestly, whenever it's, I hate white people. No, I mean, I honestly, because if you look, the majority of this chaos that's ensuing, it's
like,
these
history.
weird white motherfucking people on TikTok. And honestly, it's the people who are behind all of it, like George Soros and all of these. It's all these old. They're either old white elites pulling strings, or it's now a bunch of young brainwashed white people who think they are some sort of martyr, that they know more than a colored person or a you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They know better than them on how they feel. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
No one asked you.
And honestly, to answer your question, like, do you ever feel like white people are giving us a bad rap? Yeah, it's white liberals. White liberals.
That's who is now. He's right. It's
I can't stand them. I feel like they're condescending because they make it seem that the people they're defending don't have the capability to be their own person.
Yeah, there's a lot of times I'll see something or somebody saying something on a podcast, and I'll be like, well, how the fuck do you know what it's like? You know, like, we got voices, you know.
Which is honestly why you're here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
that is all we ever want to know. This sparked in my brain. I remember you telling me this, and I hope you're okay talking about it.
Good. Let's go.
You had told me a story about your uncle.
Yeah, my uncle. Yeah. So I can tell you. Buckle up for this. Right.
And give. I know you're a great storyteller, but
I'll give you the Spark Note version.
No. I'm talking about the whole context version. I want people to hear this story.
Okay. All right. So I'm born in 1994.
Okay.
Right. I never met my uncle because in 1995, my uncle and his wife, they split. He had to go to a rehab. So he came down from Philadelphia. I was living in Alaska at the time, a military brat.
Nice.
So,
my dad was in the Army.
There we go. So he goes down to Delray Beach, checks into this rehab. He's like 30 days in, doing better. But him and a buddy, they go to an Albertsons. He goes in with his buddy, and they're shopping and they're just grabbing stuff. Now, I don't know how rehabs work, but my dad was saying that there's a time limit. You can't, like, if they let you out to go do something, you got to get back.
That's exactly right.
You know,
I would know.
So they're in the store, and I guess when they first came in there, they had one cart, right? So he's like, hey, bro, why don't we just leave the cart here, and we'll just grab stuff, bring it back. You know, place isn't huge, right? So my uncle goes down to an aisle, and the story that was told to me before, you know, getting into all the legal paperwork and all that stuff was he had a toothbrush, and he was going to grab like a case of water or something. And so he squat down, puts the toothbrush in his back pocket, right?
To use both his hands.
Yep. Picks up, walks it to the cart. They proceed to go to checkout, right? This isn't, you know, two guys running out of a store. So he gets confronted, said that, you know, you're stealing or whatever. He's confused, and, you know, he tries to explain the situation. They're not trying to hear that shit. And they start to walk to the back of the store so they can show video or whatever. And I don't know what was said from the register to going back there, but he starts to move back towards the front of the store. Mm-hmm. And then some store employees tackled him. Somebody took their tie off, hog-tied his legs, and then 6 or 7 people just sat on him. He was quoted as saying, you know, I can't breathe, and, you know, similar stuff to, you know, George Floyd or whatever.
Right.
And so when they got the police there, you know, they come in, normal human beings, and they're like, get the fuck off the guy, you know? And by then,
who'd have thought the police were like, what the hell are you doing? Right, you know? Okay.
And so he ended up dying in the store. They tried to, you know, they give this show for the people around, you know, like they'll pump on chest and do all that stuff, but they got him out of there, and, you know, they pronounced him dead. So Albertson and my aunt, who I haven't met, she had 2 kids at the time. They go to court, and even before that, like the usual court jesters that show up when a black person dies, right? Like you got Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and shit. They fly down, cameras in front of the fucking place.
They came down for this one?
They came down for this.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what my dad was telling me. Like it was a big deal. So they come down, get their 15 minutes of fame. They go to court. The wife, just lost a husband, has 2 kids. He was in rehab. After battling for like a year, they just settle. So Albertson does like 2-point-something million and pays it out over, I want to say 10 years or something like that to her and the kids.
That's pretty good over 10 years.
Yeah. So it was something where it's weird to see everybody in the situation got acquitted because they settled, right?
I see.
And my dad asked the guy he was with. He said, "Hey, if you guys were stealing, bro, it's been like 30 years. You could tell me, right?" And he was adamant that it's just a simple mistake, man. And you think about that, like, is a toothbrush worth somebody's life? Regardless of the color.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of times where I'm like, even with the George Floyd shit, like, okay, he had a phony 20. Let's get his ass to jail, put him through the process, whatever. The guy didn't deserve to die that day.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So if you look up William Alexander, Delray Beach, the story will pop up and you can kind of read a little more. As I've gotten older, I've typed in, you can see all the people involved. I've typed their names in on Facebook. I've seen a few of them, and I'm like, man, that's just so weird.
That they're still
like
people and exist, right?
Me, these guys, basically murdered my uncle.
Right.
I won't say that it was premeditated, but there was people on both sides. So there's, I'm level-headed. So I read some articles that most family members wouldn't want to read. That when he was on the ground, he said, "If you let me go, I'll kill you." That's what somebody said, right? But someone else also said they heard the store employees saying, "I don't care if he does die," right? So it's just a bunch of chaos.
Conflicting things coming from these people.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, fucking toothbrush,
Yeah, was it worth doing all of that for a
toothbrush?
Think about
Eric Garner in New York,
selling the cigarettes.
A fucking cigarette.
I mean, I agree.
If it's illegal, take him to jail.
Right.
I'm all for it. I think most normal people, and then I hate when, the shit happens because just like, the question I asked y'all about, are you prepared for, like, when some shit happens, you're like, fuck, here goes 8 months of this shit. Here's a year of this shit, right? Same thing when I see it, I'm like, fuck. I'm going to have to call one of my white boys and let them know, like, hey, bro, you good, bro? Like, that shit, it's tough. But, so my uncle, that situation, it's weird. Every time someone gets asphyxiated, my dad will call me and be like, yeah, that reminds me of your Uncle Billy.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy because I feel like there's not a lot of people who can, like, see all of these major events happening and actually have a direct connection to a similar event.
For sure.
So, like, you have literally firsthand experience in your bloodline.
Yeah. Like one generation ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think when you hear defund the police?
So with the police, obviously, like, we need the fucking police, right? So
yes.
that's clear. I don't even understand the term. When I hear it, it doesn't even register in my head as like, let's do away with the police or, I think that we should invest more into the fucking police because think about this, bro. Like, I see some cops and I'm like I told you when we walked in, the SWAT guy, right?
Yeah.
That motherfucker looked like he was supposed to be in the SWAT. I felt safe as fuck when he walked in the dealership, bro.
Right.
I was like, this guy, and you would say I'm a
like,
fast
he'll
guy.
drop a motherfucker if something happens.
Like, I would happily pay this guy $70,000 a year.
Right.
To make sure we're safe, right? So this guy looked like if I tried to take off running, he could run me down. And I'm not a slow motherfucker, bro.
4-3.
Right? So, but like, bro, I that's where I'm like, man, you know what? Let's take some of this money. Like, there's a lot of stuff we fund that's just like, okay, that's bullshit. Or it's pandering to something.
Right.
Take that money and make the fucking police force elite, right?
Yeah.
So you can age out and maybe, gain weight because you're a little older. Okay, you're going to be the guy doing papers on the inside.
Yeah, desk work.
Desk work, right? We should have the baddest motherfuckers, and minimum should be $50K just to show up, right? And the money that goes into your pension, I do think that, like, if you do some crazy shit, they should take some of your retirement money to do any settlements. I don't think the taxpayers should be Like, if you got one
Responsible
racist cop,
right.
you know, he beats the shit out of somebody gets a $10 million settlement. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not paying for that.
Right.
You know, I don't feel like y'all should either. You
And
know?
that's a great incentive for even those cops who may be more inclined to beat up a black dude to not do it. Oh, my fucking retirement. Think
Like,
about the
what?
retirement, Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Like, this guy, okay, so the guy gave you the fucking middle finger and you're having a bad day. You're not going to beat the shit out of him if you're making fucking $5,600 after taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your wife
got too much to lose.
Yeah. $30,000, I'd probably beat your ass too if you said something crazy to me.
And there would be a hell of a lot less crooked cops. We've all seen The Departed. We've all seen the movies where the cop's sitting there looking at the drug dealer's money, knowing if I take 5 stacks of this, there's 200 of them right here. They're not going to know.
They wouldn't know.
And then that starts that cycle of like, I'm a crooked cop. And then who knows where else? Cops are people too.
Shit, I'll tell you right now. If they get like drug money, right, and it's a fucking large quantity, right, it's the community's money. Like they do it with cars. They get a drug car, they'll fucking slap a damn sheriff on the side of it, and you know, now you see a fucking Lambo that's
Right.
just got sheriff on it, right? But yeah, a portion of that should go into hey, if there is a lawsuit, okay, we'll pay it out with this money we confiscated. Not I don't think taxpayers should have to pay, and I don't think that, like, think about what if there's 2 racist guys that are police and they do some bullshit, and now the other, you know, say there's 20 guys in a precinct, they're getting fucked and getting a bad rep because of these 2.
Right.
And they got to pay settlements. You know, like the shit just a bad look. So whatever the fuck you ask, I got to piss, bro.
We'll wrap up with this. How about that? Given, and I know you got to piss, the pressure's on.
Let's go.
Given that it's Black History Month,
Oh,
I don't know if you know this, we've been asked to really go around the country, but we'll start with you in having people earn their black card. 5 questions, Caleb. You, at the end of it, if you get 3 out of 5, are indeed a black man.
Let's see if that private school has corrupted you.
Let's go. This is hilarious. Let's go.
Question number 1. Which of these men invented the game of basketball? Is it A, Adolph Rupp, B, Forrest Allen, C, James Naismith, or D, Spike Lee?
Spike Lee! I did
I'm
my
gonna go
project
with-
on him in middle school.
I'm going to go with C, Naismith.
You answered C, James Naismith. You are correct! So far, you are a black man. Number
Let's hope
2.
Joe Biden
That was
agrees.
easy.
Number 2. And they get progressively more difficult, I may say.
Okay.
Fuck the podcast. I want to be a game show host. Number 2. And I'm not talking about what is in Joe Biden's pants. What is considered the birthplace of hip hop? Is it A, Brooklyn, New York, B, Compton, California, C, Houston, Texas, or D, the Bronx, New York?
See, this is where it took me so long to understand the difference between the 2, right? I was like, oh, I just thought some people called this shit that.
And they're different.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. Damn, it's like it's 2 different cities, same.
Okay,
Alright,
so you're
let's go with
narrowing it down to either
A or D.
A or D. Brooklyn, New York is A. The Bronx is D. Which do you choose?
I'm gonna go with A.
You chose A. Brooklyn, New York. You're incorrect.
Whoa, it's a D, right?
Is D. The
D, the
Bronx,
Bronx.
New York. Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah.
Hey, at
damn,
least
bro.
1-1, baby. 1-1.
1-1.
All right, let's keep going.
I'm from the South, though. All right, well, that's good.
I'm nervous.
That's a fair argument.
I'm nervous now. I want him to win so bad. I want you to be black, dude.
You don't vote for Joe Biden, you're not black.
Question number 3. Which Florida town is home to the most Popeye's chicken locations? Is it A,
Shit.
Orlando with 13, I shouldn't have said the number.
Yeah, I'm
gonna go. That sounds like a lot of Popeye's chicken.
Why did I just do that?
Sounds like a lot of. I've been to Orlando.
Okay, hang on.
That's where I'm from. I can tell you right now, it ain't the answer.
Why did I just do that? Because I want you to win.
I'm giving him a freebie on that one.
All right. A, Orlando.
We're 13.
B, we're a serious game show. B, Jacksonville. C, Miami. Or D, Tampa. I can't believe I did that.
You know what? You know what's crazy? I'm gonna do this just off of pure landmass. So Jacksonville is the biggest city by landmass
in the nation.
In the nation.
Quiet from the peanut gallery. You want to be black too, don't you?
So
I gotta vote for Joe Biden.
So I think that Miami's fucking crazy.
It is. It's the biggest metropolitan in the state, but it ain't the biggest landmass.
Yeah.
Cocaína and okay,
and Cubano.
Okay. Only hint: you got to think regionally where you are in the whole United and what you're eating.
And what state is the closest?
I'm trying to help.
I gotta go with Jax just because it's the biggest fucking city.
You answered B, Jacksonville. You are correct!
Hey, I needed that. These next two are gonna be tough.
Yeah,
I feel it. Okay, yeah.
Oh Christ! I wish I made this easier. I sat
No
down.
hints on this. I'm good.
I sat down and I thought, like, I want this to be hard.
So I made it hard.
Yeah, I guess I did. I didn't think I'd be good enough. Question number 4. Which of these 4 films gave acclaimed actor Denzel Washington his first Best Lead Actor Oscar, specifically in the category of Best Actor?
Not supporting.
Not supporting, the best thing you can get. Is it A, Training Day, B, Malcolm X, C, Remember the Titans, or D, The Hurricane?
You said not supported.
Not supporting.
Leading role.
Leading role. Okay,
Best
so
time he was the man.
I mean, it only sounds like one of those. He was an absolute lead. He had co-stars. All right, I'm gonna go with Training Day. I thought that.
You answered A, Training Day. You are correct.
My blank.
Go King Kong in this motherfucker.
Okay, extra credit time, right?
Yes.
There we go. All right.
Number 5. Which of these 4 hip-hop stars is father to the most children? A, personal favorite of both Zach and I's, a fan of the podcast, Lil Boosie.
Got 2 red bras just building in the backseat. I-10, baby. I love Boosie. That was like high school soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
That was my high school soundtrack.
B, Chief Keef. Love Sosa.
Let's see it.
Love Sosa. This is your only hint. C, just because he was on the list, Moneybagg Yo. Couldn't tell you anything about him.
Yeah.
Or D, Future. Let me read them all again. Father to the most children. A, Lil Boosie. B, Chief Keef. C, Moneybagg Yo. Or D, Future.
Lil Boosie was in prison for a long period of time. He might have popped out fucking like crazy. All right, I'm gonna go with A, Boosie. He popped out of prison, and bro, there's no way.
Are you sure about that?
Bro, there's no way Chief Keef is fucking that much, bro. I know Future. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a controversy.
Is there a tie?
Our very first episode, we were mired in controversy. The list I checked had Chief Keef at 9 kids be the most, and that was a recent list.
Okay. I hadn't heard that he was fucking like that, bro.
I think today we learned Chief Keef's fucking like that.
Well, he's too high. He's forgetting to report his children.
Yeah, bro, that's insane, bro. No, I would have never got that right. He would have been the last person.
That's 3 out of 5, though.
Yeah, that's 3
You
out of 5.
have your
I wore a black shirt for this moment.
That was 3 out of 5. I'm sitting here all nervous.
I'm like, bro, it's done.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that was for extra credit. Remember?
all that nervousness for extra credit. I was nervous for you.
That's that private school mentality.
We're always thinking something's coming. Well, Caleb, thank you for coming down. Not only you are a great running back, you're a great podcast co-host, because that's what we're calling him. Caleb's going to be on a lot.
And a great friend for you.
Yeah, but
And me now.
For sure.
Pleasure
bro.
to meet you, bro.
Yeah, man.
there we go.
It's exciting.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, I can't wait to have you back.
And tradition, knock
yeah.
away the mics in 3, 2, 1.